With the birther issue in Japan being a major concern, the Yukari Law was passed by the government in 1975 to counter that problem. The law states that everyone who turns 16 will be informed who they are to marry. The matches were selected on their families and genes so that the offspring would be not only intelligent but also a well-performing person. But if anyone wanted to go against the law and love someone outside of what person they are supposed to marry is illegal. Our story begins with Najima, who wants to live his life according to his principles, held back by nothing. Glancing over to childhood crush Misaki, but not too brave to go up to her. His friend Takeda comes and tells Najima that he got a notice from the government about who he is to marry, but he wants to find love himself and not be forced to marry someone he doesn't want to. Najima and his friends make a firm belief that no matter what, they won't marry, and Misaki decides to join in on that as well. Surprised by this, the boys clearly show their intentions. As Misaki takes her leave, the group asks her if she has turned 16 but hasn't gotten the notice yet. They intend to be the one to marry Misaki. At home, Najima gets a flashback where he cuts and gives his eraser to Misaki. Najima was so love-thirsted that just a little gesture of gratitude by Misaki was all there ever needed for Najima to be in love. However, one-sided love goes, he never built the courage to talk to her. At the dinner table, Najima's family talks about how excited they are for him to turn 16 and how curious about who will Najima get his life wrecked with. Najima falls into despair, thinking that he doesn't have much time, so finally has the will to confess to Misaki. The next day at school, he mans up and goes up to Misaki, who is walking with her friends. He tells her that they both were in the same class in elementary school, to which Misaki denies any memory of it. Turns out that now Najima is heartbroken, but before Misaki leaves, he calls out to her and tells her that he will be waiting at the park at 6 for her. Time passes, but she doesn't come. Hurt by this, he starts building burial mounds just from anger. The police notices him and asks him to go home. As soon as he is to leave, Misaki arrives and both sit down. She asked about the burial mounds that he had built, and like a nerd, Najima starts to explain them. Misaki laughs and compliments that he hasn't changed since elementary, excited about them just as he was when he was a kid. Najima asks how she knows since she didn't remember about it before, and Misaki responds by saying that she had lied since she wasn't alone. Building his courage, Najima confesses to Misaki, which makes her shed tears and show the eraser from the elementary school, also confessing her love for him ever since that incident. They both embrace each other and start to get a bit too close for you to see. But as they are kissing, the clock turns 12 and Najima gets a notification from the government about who he is to marry. To his surprise, the notification says the name is Misaki Takasaki. This surprises both of them, but the phone dies out right after. From the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare, 2 agents arrive and provide him the information on who he is to marry. It is Lelina Sanada, to which Najima objects and tells them the notification said the name of Misaki. They say that Najima could be mistaken and there are no errors in the document. Misaki tells Najima that these moments were the best she spent with him, and with that strength, she will continue to live on. As she is about to run away, Najima stops her and embraces her, telling her that she is the only one he wants in his life. The next day, Najima's family is to go and meet Lelena's family, but Najima is too struck to bother and runs to attend school. There he tells his classmates that he doesn't intend to get married. This revelation shocks everyone, and the teacher calls Najima, telling him that while his emotions are important, so is his future. Misaki comes and asks why he came to school, to which Najima tells her that he wanted to meet her. Misaki tells him that they only belong in memories, so go meet your future wife, weakling. As both families gather, Najima is shocked to see that Lelina is beautiful, unlike what he had anticipated. This does get him into a troubled heart. At the gathering, Lelina tries to ask about the life and habits of Najima, getting to know him better, but Najima is too bummed out, only thinking about Misaki. Lelina gets furious, gets up and yells that she is not going to marry someone who has no manners, and leaves. Najima decides to go after her to apologize, and along his way, he stumbles into a room with Lelina. There she expresses how she is scared to get married yet has built the courage to face her problems. Meanwhile, Najima was being a coward, not thinking outside the box for once. Najima apologizes for his behavior and tells Lelina that he has Misaki on his mind only. Expressing that she is the only one he loves, Lelina asks to know more. Najima tells her about what went down, and then Lelina has a strange switch that turns on, deciding to help Najima achieve his love. Though Najima says that Misaki is possibly mad at her, Lelina tells him that she could be just doing that to hide her feelings, and ultimately both make a bond. The next day at school, the group is shocked to see that Najima found a beautiful person to get married to, making all of them jealous. Amidst that, Nisaka asks Misaki if she has seen Najima's bride-to-be, to which she denies to even seeing. Najima makes his way to Lelena's school, which turns out to be a girls' school. He asks around for Lelena, and he gets to know that her nickname is Sanadamushi, which translates to tapeworm. Knowing about the nurse's office, Najima finds her sick in bed. Najima confronts them about her nickname Sanadamushi, and she gets angry at him for knowing. Lelena now expresses her past that she had always been very sick, unable to attend classes as much. This caused their classmates to name her Sanadamushi, relating to illness. Lelena tells him that she is not social, which results in her having no friends. Najima tries to lift the mood and tells her that he is awkward around girls as well, but she is the only one he can talk to so openly. After school, Lelena asks Najima to tell her more about Misaki. Just as then, Misaki is walking right outside her school. Confronting her, Lelena asks Misaki to hang out to talk. At the restaurant, Misaki opens up about her feelings towards Najima and what she loves about him, and feels relieved to have expressed her thoughts to someone because she didn't have anyone to share them with before. Coming out of the restaurant, Misaki thanks Lelena and asks her to hang out again. This makes Lelena tear up, getting her first friend after 16 long years of being a loner. Najima comes out as Misaki leaves and exposes himself that he has kissed Misaki. Something sparks in Lelena and tells Najima to kiss her once every day. Misaki asks Najima if Lelena said anything to him, and he reveals that she asked him to kiss Misaki. Later that day, Nisaka compliments Najima that he went to an all-girls school just to meet Lelena, whom no simple person would do. It flashbacks to Nisaka being bullied and Najima calling the police to save him, showing a little past about them. Later, at Lelena's house, Najima is shocked to see Misaki already there, and she tells Lelena that she is taking her leave. Lelena gets sad, and with that, she decides to stay. They both start to talk, and Najima starts to feel like a third wheel. Suddenly, Lelena asks Misaki and Najima to kiss, but this doesn't sit well with Misaki, and she excuses herself to that bathroom. Najima calls Lelena out for her strange action, but Misaki returns, saying that they should kiss, but not in front of Lelena so it won't hurt any feelings. Lelena denies, and they both decide to kiss. Najima chickens out, and Misaki finds his action cute and gets flustered. As Misaki is about to leave, Misaki asks Lelena if she felt anything when they were about to kiss. Lelena counters by saying she doesn't like Najima, so she doesn't feel a thing, to which Misaki says that she will in the future, advising her to fall in love with Najima. Lelena returns to her room all red and her heart is racing, telling Najima that he should kiss Misaki even more. Najima and Lelena see Nisaka after their meeting and look at them together. Nisaka gives a strange comment, as if something could be going on, which makes both of them fluster. Returning to the classroom after their PE class outside, Misaki calls Najima and asks if Lelena said anything, to which he tells her to kiss Misaki more. Before anything, a teacher comes by and Najima takes Misaki on the side as they are already late for class and kisses Misaki, but they are seen by Nisaka. Later in the class, Najima texts Nisaka that he wants to see him, but Nisaka tells him that he has a meeting and will meet after that. During the waiting session, Najima reflects on what if crossing the line was forbidden and has done wrong. As Nisaka returns, he finds Najima asleep, and here is a fun plot twist. Nisaka kisses him. Later, Najima wakes up and asks Nisaka if he likes someone, such as Misaki, to which he denies, and the two take their leave. Lelena is at Najima's house where they have a family dinner, where Najima's parents ask if they have kissed yet. They start to talk about things that make both of them uncomfortable, and Lelena is being clumsy on the side. She asks how do one kiss, and they tell her that it's love that brings two together, making her think. Thanking for the meal, Lelena and Najima both go into his room. Lelena is disgusted as Najima's room is chaos, asking to clean it for him. Najima is just as a loner as he is, being happy that a girl is in his room. They go through the old pictures through grade school, and Lelena is surprised by how Misaki looked when she was young. Lelena asks Najima that did he kiss Misaki earlier, and he agrees. Lelena feels rather happy about it and asks how it feels. Najima expresses feeling joy. The agents from earlier arrive for an interview. They explain that selection is made through their previous records from early lives to find the most perfect match for that person. They begin the interview, and Najima states that he doesn't feel that Lelena is her bride-to-be, and similar goes with Lelena. As the agents are to leave, they ask Najima where the house of Misaki is. When asked if she had received her notice, they turn down, saying that it is private information. Najima is devastated by the thought of Misaki getting her notice to be with someone else, and Lelena tries to comfort him, encouraging him to not give up that easily on her. Najima's mother comes and tells both of them about the camping trip they are to go with Lelena's family. As they walk, Lelena asks Najima to kiss Misaki even more, but Najima refuses because it feels weird since Lelena asks him to do so and it is forbidden. The next day at school, Najima wants to ask Misaki if she has gotten her notice but isn't brave enough to do so. The teacher asks Najima to help Misaki with work after school as the class representative is absent at that time. Najima complies, and on his way he sees Misaki and Nisaka talking, which creates some thoughts in Najima's mind. Later, Misaki comes and thanks Najima for help. Though Najima asks about her notice, she responds that the agents did come but for her family and not her. She tells him that only Najima is the one special to him too, and after they share a kiss. At school, Najima asks Nizaka to come along on the trip, but he refuses. Upon begging, he agrees but is shocked to know that Lalina and Misaki will be there as well. At the station, the parents go on ahead and Najima is to come along with Elena, Nisaki, and Nisaka. However, Elena is not happy, calling Nisaka a pervert on his previous comments about them. Nisaka and Misaki engage in a conversation and they all leave for the train. There, Najima asks Nisaka what they are talking about, but he refuses to answer, making Najima doubt that he must like Misaki as well. At the campsite, Najima's mother asks the boys to cook dinner. Najima first thinks that Nisaka would be a pro at this, but looking at his skills, Najima soon realizes how wrong he was since Nisaka has no clue what he is doing. He just asks Nisaka to wash the vegetables. What could go wrong? Got you there. Nisaka was using soap to wash the veggies. Najima goes to find Misaki and Lalina to help them out, but turns out they are enjoying their time in the lake. They ask Najima to join, but he is too nervous to join in. Lalina tries to get him but slips, spraining her ankle. Najima carries her to the shed, but they fluster as they make contact with each other. Lalina's father turns out to be a vet and treats her sprain. The father asks Najima what he wants to do in life. Najima reveals that he has an interest in burial mounds. At night, Najima tells Nisaka he feels like Nisaka is keeping something from him, maybe about the time Nisaka kissed him while he was asleep. Before Nisaka can reply, Lalina and Misaki show up, suggesting they all go hiking. They split into two groups, Lalina with Nisaka and Misaki with Najima. Misaki says sorry for Lalina always making them hang out, but Najima says he's okay with it. While chasing a firefly, Misaki falls off a small cliff and Najima tries to save her but also falls. They end up hugging tightly, enjoying the moment. Meanwhile, Nisaka asks Lalina why she's trying to make Najima and Misaki closer, warning her about what might happen if they get married. They bump into Najima and Misaki again while following fireflies and eventually find their way back to the trail. They see a bunch of fireflies and then head home. Misaki and Nisaka go to their homes and Najima says sorry to Nisaka for dragging him along on the trip, but Nisaka says he had fun. Lastly, Lalina asks Najima to take her to see a burial mound, making him excited. Lalina has a dream about kissing Najima and confused by this, she starts to research French kissing the next morning. During her research, a girl approaches her, Arisa Nisaka, who expresses her desire to become friends with Lalina. Later, Arisa explains to Lalina that her brother was the one who took care of Lalina when she was in the hospital 6 years ago. Arisa tells Lalina that he always praised her bravery for making it through. Though this makes Lalina happy and wants to make a stronger bond and a potential friendship, Lalina struggles to find a common topic to discuss as her social awkwardness kicks in. Meanwhile, Najima reflects on his relationship with Misaki and is confused because of her behavior, acting cold towards him after returning from the camping trip. He had thought that they had grown closer after the trip, but the opposite seems to be the case. During the school, Najima and Takeda are instructed to attend a special class at the Ministry of Health. On their way, they encounter Nisaka, who seems to be aware of the class's purpose. Though knowing what it is about, Nisaka refrains from giving either of them any idea about its purpose. At the ministry, Najima reunites with Takeda, who is with his assigned wife, Haruka. Shortly after that, Lalina arrives, surprising them. Both parties exchange gifts, prompting Haruka to comment on how the couple look great together as if made for each other. During the lecture about the importance of intimacy and sex, Elena feels uncomfortable, imagining being intimate with Najima. Najima asks Najima about the choice between love and assigned partners, though jokes about being observed while all the participants are intimate during the night. Najima hears rumors of penalties for couples who fail to engage in sexual activity. Najima and Lalina head to their assigned room, but things seem to get more awkward from there as fear enrolls on Najima. Najima asks Najima if they got physical last night, but Najima denies it, saying that he was unable to. Najima tells him that he would have done it only if it was Misaki and tells him to reflect on his life. Flashback reflects in their room, fearing the penalty. Najima kisses Lalina, believing it will prevent penalties. However, Lalina asks him why is he kissing her, explaining that the government cannot monitor their intimacy. Embarrassed by his mistake, Najima apologizes and Lalina, not being able to hold her emotions, suggests to Najima that they take a break from each other. Later, Najima, passing through the class, sees the practice going on for the Romeo and Juliet play. It turns out that Misaki is playing Romeo and Nisaka is playing Juliet for the cultural festival. As for why, he was blackmailed by his teacher that if he doesn't participate, 30% of his attendance will be removed as a penalty. Najima thinks about inviting Lalina to the play but remembers that she doesn't want to be with him for a while. Najima helps with the play but gets injured while trying to protect a gift from Lalina. Misaki learns about Najima's injury and rushes to check on him. Nejima tells Misaki he's okay physically but feels sad because they haven't talked in a month. Misaki explains she's been avoiding Nejima because she thinks she doesn't deserve him and it wouldn't be fair to Lelina. Nejima feels down because Lelina is avoiding him for hurting her feelings. To make up for it, Misaki later meets Lelina after a cafe, and amidst their conversation, Misaki mentions a time when Nejima making hotcakes at school in the home economics class. Misaki tried them and complimented the hotcakes. She said that she could eat them her whole life if Nejima was the one who made them. Getting back to the cause, Lelina admits she has been avoiding Nejima, but feels lonely without him. Nejima seeks advice from Nejima, who shares a story of a boy torn between his longtime girlfriend and his assigned partner. The boy regrets not choosing love, realizing its importance only after losing it. Nejima advises Nejima not to overthink and to act. Nejima messages Lelina about visiting the burial mounds. Lelina replies, expressing uncertainty about her feelings but agreeing to visit the mounds someday. She encourages Nejima to focus on the cultural festival. Misaki struggles with her feelings for Nejima, knowing he loves Lelina, but feeling conflicted as she is the one in love with Nejima. Despite wanting to intervene, she decides against it. Nejima is fully focused on helping with the cultural festival, especially with the play. When the costumes arrive, everyone's thrilled except Nisaka, who leaves abruptly. Nejima catches up to Nisaka and learns he's not participating in the play. Nejima tries to convince him, but Nisaka seems indifferent. When Nejima puts his hand on Nisaka's shoulder, he pushes Nejima away. Amidst this escalation, Nisaka's dad arrives and takes them to a restaurant where Nejima tries to defuse the situation. Getting to know that his son is participating in a lead role, he gets surprised, but Nisaka takes a trip to the restroom. Nisaka's dad appreciates Nejima's friendship, noting Nisaka's changed personality. He asks Nejima to continue looking out for Nisaka. Nejima and Nisaka head home, with Nejima persistently asking Nisaka to play a role in the play. Nisaka refuses because he thinks that modern-day situation is pretty much the same. No one can get the one that they love, eventually leading to a heavy loss. Still not giving up, Nejima says that if he does the role, it'll be beautiful, convincing him to take the role. At school, Nejima encounters Misaki, who offers to help with the play's flyers as they are too much for one to handle. Misaki seems stressed, explaining she doesn't want her role but doesn't want to let her classmates down. She reveals that she and Nisaka were asked to kiss for the play but refuse. Misaki opens up about her feelings for Nisaka, surprised by his dedication to the play. Nejima asks Misaki about love, and she describes it as longing for someone's presence and feeling complete when they're together. She admits to having feelings for Nejima since childhood, wishing for a life together. She says that she wanted to go to the same trips in school as him, and she was happy with how her luck played out. She was as happy when Nejima expressed his love for her as she could ever be. Misaki cries, saddened that she wasn't assigned to Nejima. Nejima hugs her, though she tells him it's not right. Despite Misaki's reservations, Nejima holds onto her, understanding that these feelings may cause her pain later on. The day of the cultural festival arrives. Nejima struggles to attract any attention and starts to pass out while handing out flyers for the play. On the other hand, Misaki is getting all the attention, with people complimenting how well she looks in the dress. Nejima is reminded of Misaki's words, telling him to forget about her words so that they would not hurt Lelina in the future, as she cares about their well-being. Nejima understands that behind Misaki's smile is pain. She does not show it, but she has fallen and can't get up. Among them, Misaki's old friends, which doesn't fit well with Nejima, as he doesn't have many fond memories with her, causing him to flee the scene as they arrive. Nejima encounters Yejima, who asks why Yejima is here. Yejima tells him that there are other students here as well who are assigned under him, so he is just keeping an eye out for them. Nejima tells Yejima about the person he is assigned for marriage, telling him that Nejima got a notification that had the name of Misaki on it, but the documents said Lelina. Yejima counters this issue and says that it could either be an error or false notice, since the names on the papers have already been written. Lelina arrives at the school with her new friend, Ariza. Though encountering Nejima on his way, she tries to seem uninterested and only asks for the way to the play. Nejima feels that she is still upset with him, but stays awkward. Then Nejima joins Nisaka, asking if he can see how Nisaka looks when dressing up, to which he refuses. Mentioning Nejima's strange, awkward behavior, Nejima is asked by Nisaka, and he expresses his concerns about Lelena's behavior towards him, not knowing what to do. Nisaka later reassures him that it's going to be found. Backstage, Nejima helps Nisaka get dressed but ultimately feels useless, and Nisaka encourages him. The play begins and everyone is deep into it, loving every bit, which causes it to earn an outstanding ovation. After the play, Nejima encounters his old classmate, Igarashi, who is also Misaki's friend. She tells Nejima that she knows about the notification. Amidst that, Lelina comes and Misaki mentions that Nejima is the true destined partner of Misaki. Lelina keeps asking Igarashi about destined partners, but Igarashi won't explain. She says Misaki is hiding something important and promises to help her. After Igarashi leaves, Najima tells Alina about the notice with Misaki's name, making Lelina think they were matched by mistake. Najima assures her it's correct. Najima apologizes for not staying away, but Lelina says they have bigger concerns. They plan to ask Misaki for Igarashi's number, but she's surrounded by fans praising her play. Lelina and Najima praise her too. Nisaka's family arrives, his brother laughs at him for dressing like a princess while his father thanks Najima for accompanying him throughout, and Najima gets invited to a wedding. Najima gets Igarashi's info from Misaki. Meanwhile, Lelina's classmates start talking to her more. Arisa states that she used to be a bit grumpy, pushing people away from her, but she has changed along with her expressions, making Lelina more approachable. Najima tries to send a friend request to Igarashi but gets rejected. Crying in the playground about it, Lelina accompanies him to comfort him. To help, Lelina sends a friend request and it gets accepted. She agrees to meet Lelina alongside Najima. When they meet, Lelina directly asks about what she had meant by a destined partner. Igarashi takes them to a cat cafe to talk where the girls get lost within the cats. Najima asks Igarashi if the rejection was an error, but she says she intentionally blocked him. Explaining then about how Misaki always used to be hollow, she hated that. But one day, she found Misaki taking photos of Najima from the board. Igarashi saw Misaki being herself for the first time. And ever since that, she feared Misaki being hurt and never really trusted Najima with it, thinking that Najima wouldn't ever choose Misaki. To come up with something, her grandmother helped her out, explaining the concept of love and making false notifications, stating that real love is different. Najima arrives, telling Igarashi to stop feeding made-up stories to Najima and Lelina. After that, Najima and Lelina take their leave, but Lelina apologizes to Najima, saying that she had been a fool to try to help. But Najima disagrees, saying that she admires and appreciates her straightforwardness. It is the day of Nisaka's brother's wedding and all of his friends are invited. On their way, Najima asks Nisaka why he was not at the wedding earlier, to which Nisaka responds that he doesn't want the relatives to question his choices, so he waits for it to begin and he can go with his friends. He states that he is happy for his brother being married, relating it to how their parents used to talk about their marriage as if it was a compulsory action to follow in their footsteps. Entering the venue, Alina and Misaki are approached by a woman who asks them to be a model for their pamphlet. For that, they have to wear wedding dresses, and upon accepting, she takes their contact information, telling her that they will be contacted later on. The woman tells Najima that he can come and see his assigned wife as well. At the wedding, they are shown the bride and groom's memories. This makes Najima think about his feelings for both Lelina and Misaki. He knows that if he is to choose Lelina, he would have to give up on all the memories of Misaki. On the other hand, Lelina tells Misaki about the changes she had made after meeting them, from being a loner who does nothing but study to someone important and special. For this change, she is grateful that she had met Misaki and Najima. During the time of the bouquet toss, Najima suddenly realized that he didn't have his phone and went to find it, but as he returned, he found that Misaki was crying. He goes to her asking what's wrong. Misaki tells him to tell her that he loves her even if it is a lie. But Najima has not lost her feelings for her. Lelina is searching for Najima and she stumbles upon the sight of both Najima and Misaki kissing. This makes her feel hurt for the first time. Later on, Najima reflects on the kiss, though feeling guilty about it. He feels content as if it was the right thing to do. The next day, Najima and Lelina's families go to a hot spring for a vacation, and Lelina, along with Najima, explore the town. During this, Lelina can't shake off the feeling of being hurt by Najima and Misaki kissing. Though knowing that worrying would change nothing, she ultimately decides to enjoy the present. When they return to the hotel, both are given their single room. Though Najima tells Lelina that he will sleep separately. While in the hot spot, Elena, on the other side, asks Najima about Igarashi's words, the destined partners. Turns out that Najima is confused as well. After that, they both go into their room, unable to sleep. Lelina comes up to Najima and starts telling him how they have brought a change in their lives. She tells Najima that she loves to spend her day with both of them, and when she returns home, she would miss all the moments spent with them. The day they are not together, she writes everything down that happened in a memory. She tells how she has seen a major change in herself thanks to them. Najima tells her to stop beating around the bush and get to the point where she tells Najima that she wants him to choose Misaki over her. Lelina tells Najima that for Misaki and him to be together, she did a bit of research to know if the assigned people could change their partners. It is as simple as showing dislike to each other and pretending that, without leaving a bad mark on their families, they have to keep up with it. Though they will be put in counseling sessions, they have to put up the act, and it will take only 6 months before they receive a notice that they won't be compatible with each other anymore. And for that, Misaki will have to do the same for her assigned partner. Najima denies it and says that he does not want to pretend to hate Lelena for 6 months. Lelena comforts him by saying that it will hurt for a while, but bearing the pain for now is better than to be hurt for the rest of their lives. Whether they are assigned or not, they will be by each other's side. She tells Najima that she will kiss her assigned partner and it won't be too bad. She asks Najima if she can kiss him to practice for that, and after that, they share a kiss. With this, Najima is conflicted in emotions about what he is feeling, if what he knows love is real or not. Later is the bridal shoot of Lelena and Misaki. Najima's mother asks him to go to the photo shoot, but he denies it. Nisaka comes to his room with a present. It was from his father as a thank you for coming to the wedding. Nisaki questions Najima why is he not attending the photo shoot, to which he replies that he has hurt both of the girls and is not brave enough to face them. He says that he loves both of them and doesn't know how to be fair to them. Nisaka tries to cheer him up and says that he doesn't have to be fair because all Lelena and Misaki want is for him to acknowledge them. To hurt them is as easy as to make them happy as well, so he should consider what he is to do. Najima understands it and feels better. Thanking Nisaka, he rushes off, heading towards Lelena and Misaki. At the shoot, Lelena explains her plan to Misaki, but she denies it, saying that she won't do it. It will only put them both at risk, and she loves them both. She says that Lelena would be the perfect wife for Najima, but Lelena brushes it off, saying she is lying as her love roots deeper than she has ever shown for Najima. Misaki says that she might turn the lie into a truth so that Lelena and Najima can live a happy life. Najima is running towards the venue, still confused as to which he wants to continue life with, intending to live life with both of them. Reaching the photo shoot, Lelena says that they were waiting. He comments on how beautiful Misaki is looking, making her cry and appreciative of it. Lelena invites him, and this makes him consider what path he wants to choose, unclear of what he wants. And the season ends with uncertainty, yet many possibilities for the outcome.